What does Islam say about mental health? This is a question that matters enormously to millions of Muslims navigating both faith and psychological struggle. And the honest answer pushes back against some harmful misconceptions on all sides. Here is the complete picture. Islam does not treat mental illness as weak faith. One of the most damaging misconceptions, sometimes from within Muslim communities themselves, is that depression, anxiety, or other mental health struggles indicate a deficiency in faith, something prayer alone should fix. This is not the mainstream Islamic theological position. The Quran and Hadith describe profound emotional and psychological suffering experienced even by prophets. The Prophet Muhammad himself experienced what scholars describe as deep grief and emotional anguish, particularly during the period known as the Year of Sorrow, after losing his wife Khadijah and his uncle in close succession. Prophet Yaqub, Jacob, wept for his son Yusuf for so long the Quran describes his eyes turning white from grief. These are not failures of faith. They're described as part of the genuine human experience that even the most beloved figures in Islamic history endured. The Quran and emotional distress. The Quran directly acknowledges psychological suffering, describing hearts that constrict, chests that tighten with anxiety, despair as a real and named experience. Far from condemning these states, the Quran offers them direct address. Do not despair of God's mercy. This is spoken to people in genuine distress, not as dismissal, but as a specific intervention aimed at someone in real psychological pain. Seeking help is encouraged, not discouraged. There is a well known hadith in which the prophet states that God has not sent down a disease without sending down its cure, a principle widely interpreted by Islamic scholars to include psychological and medical treatment, not just spiritual remedies. Contemporary Islamic scholarship overwhelmingly supports therapy, counseling, and where appropriate medication as legitimate and encouraged means of addressing mental health struggles alongside, not instead of, spiritual practice. The integration of faith and treatment. What distinguishes an Islamic approach isn't a rejection of clinical treatment, but an integration of spiritual practice alongside it. Prayer, dhikr, community support, and a relationship with God are described as sources of comfort and resilience, complementary to, not competing with, professional mental health care. The field of Islamic psychology has grown significantly in recent decades, specifically to address this integration, recognizing that faith and clinical treatment are not in conflict but can work together. The depth of Islamic theology across 14 centuries continues to reward honest and careful study. Every honest account of this faith adds one more piece to a picture that grows richer the more closely one looks. Context and nuance separate real understanding from oversimplified summaries that miss what actually matters. These are exactly the kinds of details that make an enormous difference to genuine understanding of the faith. This channel exists to provide honest, respectful, context rich education about Islam for the genuinely curious. Honest engagement with this material is exactly what this channel is like if this gave you something. Subscribe. Truth every day. I'm Noor. This is Islam with Noor. Thank you for listening.